share my screen and then we can get going. All right, 1 second.
Patty, I apologize to you and the speaker today. I'm going to have to bail early.
Oh, no worries. Thank you so much for joining today, Matt.
Mhm.
All
Hey, Ruth.
right. Okay, so welcome everybody. Thank you for joining us today for LinkedIn Tuesdays. And today's topic is going to be LinkedIn tools for job seekers. This event will be recorded, and the recording may be on the Career USA YouTube channel for others to view in the future. Right now, Jeff Morris would be the person that would be uploading it, and he hasn't been able to do that recently, but this hopefully will be in the future. And then by participating in this event, you give consent for your name and picture to appear. Comments in the Zoom chat window do not appear in the recording. So in the Zoom, please use the chat box to enter your question. Ruth will pause during her presentation to see if there are any questions, but if you don't want to go on camera or ask in person, I will be monitoring the chat and then can ask her questions throughout. Okay. To give you a little bit of background about Jeff Morris, he founded Career DFW in 2008. He saw a big need there for job seekers in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Then he saw a bigger need for it actually nationally, and he started careerusa.org in 2012. He also wrote the book Your Job Search, which, if you ever run into him, he has copies on hand, or you can go on to Amazon and buy his book there as well. He also leads the North Dallas Plano Career Focus Group since 2007, and that's on Friday mornings. And Matt Keelan is one of the hosts for that. And he is a member of the PIT crew since 2017. And PIT crew stands for Practice Interview Team. So I'll give you a little bit more information about that. And as you can see here, we've got four of our esteemed presenters that come in and talk with us on LinkedIn Tuesdays. We have Locke Alderson, Terry Sullivan, we have Ruth Lipsky with us today, and we also have Kurt Vandemotter. And so before we send it over to Ruth, I want to go through a few other housekeeping items. For the LinkedIn promise, this is something that you'll want to raise your hand and say, I, whatever your name is, promise to always send a personal note whenever I send a LinkedIn request to connect with anyone. This includes when I use my cell phone or my computer. So on your so you'll see this connect button that's in blue on that's how you can connect with somebody and add it. Yes, Matt, you have a question.
No, I coughed.
Oh, okay, your hand is raised.
Oh,
Okay.
I got to turn off that raise hand automatic.
All
Okay,
right.
it's off
And
now.
then for our calendar, so as we have here on Tuesdays, we do the LinkedIn Tuesdays at 1 p.m. Central. Then on Wednesday, we have the interviewing, and Ron Layton is running that. And on Friday, we have the North Dallas Plano Career Focus Group. So for Wednesday, you can go in person on the first, second, third, and fifth Wednesdays to the Christ United Methodist Church in Plano. Only on the fourth Wednesdays of the month is it on Zoom. Then any of us can join in on those.
And
All
that
right.
is and that is tomorrow. Tomorrow is online only. Do not go to the church.
All right. Yes, tomorrow is online only. Good reminder. I'm already thinking, which Wednesday is it?
Exactly.
And then on Friday, since Matt, I have you here, do you want to talk about Friday?
Yeah. For the second week in a row, two different sessions. Rick Gillis is joining us again. Last week, we had a really good presentation, and he's coming back this week, kind of a part two on your work does not speak for itself, you do, and all the ways that you can accomplish that. So join us in person if you can. Rick will be online because he's not in the DFW area. So he'll be on Zoom. And if you can't join us in person, please join the Zoom. If you are in person, of course, we'll have lunch after the meeting as we always do. So come join us.
Great. Thanks so much, Matt. And then also make sure that you are on Career DFW and the careerusa.org LinkedIn groups. You can join on there. There are over 15,000 members in the careerdfw.org LinkedIn group. And we also have the careerusa.org as well. Also on YouTube, this is where you can find previously recorded sessions. You can go to Career USA on YouTube, and then under playlists, you can view the full playlist under LinkedIn, and that's where you'll see all the previously recorded sessions from Ruth, Locke, and also from Kurt. Terry Sullivan does not have his sessions recorded. And here is an example of just some of them that you can view. And are you not receiving any emails about our workshops? You can join the Career USA mailing list. You can scan the QR code, or you can send an email to Career USA, subscribe at groups.io. Please note that Career DFW is a 501c3 nonprofit organization. We have no full or part-time employees. We survive on donations. Please consider making a donation when you get your next job. And if your new company makes matching donations, we are registered. If you do not see us listed, let us know who they use. And so with that, I will turn it over to Ruth Lipsky. And before I do, I'll give you a little bit of background on Ruth. She is a career consultant with Lee Hecht Harrison. She specializes in the enhancements that LinkedIn rolls out, particularly in the improvements that job seekers can use. So with that, I will stop sharing and turn it over to you, Ruth.
All right, thank you so much for that introduction. We are going to be talking about LinkedIn, and each one of the folks that are talking about LinkedIn in these sessions have a little bit different view of how to use it, what tools are useful. There's going to be some difference in how we view LinkedIn. There's absolutely no right way of doing it. We can give you the background on why we like to do things the way we do, but it's up to you to decide which way you want to go on this. I'd like to concentrate today on just the tools that LinkedIn uses and how to find them, because they're not particularly good at marketing them themselves. Before we get into the actual tools, though, it's good to see what LinkedIn is doing when a recruiter is trying to find you out on LinkedIn. And recruiters, when they're on the LinkedIn Recruiter software, are going to start with a basic search. They're going to put in a title, they're going to put in skills. The LinkedIn Recruiter software, when a title is put into this system, will look for one level above and one level below the recommended title, because they know the titles do vary on company to company, and what might be a manager at one location could be a senior manager in another location. So titles are somewhat fluid in the LinkedIn Recruiter. They're also looking for skills, because just because you have a title doesn't mean that you want every skill. You may want to concentrate on some specific skills that are associated with success in that role in the company. So what comes up? In this case, nearly 43,000 candidates fit the original search, which was for a project manager in the greater Chicago area with skills either in business strategy or in analytics. This is going to be a huge search, and nobody wants to sort through this many in order to find the right people to start interviewing. So LinkedIn created in conversations with recruiters the spotlight features. And the spotlight features tell the recruiter more information than what the base LinkedIn profile gives. One of them is, are you open to work? The other is, do you have any connections to the company? Are you a first degree connection to anybody in your company? Are you interested in the company? Are you following them on LinkedIn? And are you an active talent, which means, are you engaged in LinkedIn? Are you using it frequently? They feel that the more often you utilize LinkedIn, probably the more accurately they can predict that you'll also be active in a job that you're going to be looking at. Now, Notice how little information LinkedIn gives on each one of these people. It will give the headshot, the name, the headline area, which is right underneath the name on your profile, the location, and generally the past 2 job titles that you've had. That's it. They don't see your about section. They don't see any other skills. There's very little information here. This is the way we're going to be talking to recruiters, is we're going to be taking a look at the headline and what we can tell in that 220 character headline that could catch the eye of the recruiter. Now, LinkedIn never does anything randomly. The people on this list are in the order that LinkedIn feels are the best match. So out of 42,798 possible people, Emily came up number 1. Shannon came up number 2. Barbara came up number 3. There's a reason behind that. If you're coming up high in a recruiter search, it's because you match the title and the skills, but also the spotlight features are in your favor and you're doing things on LinkedIn that make you more noticeable to the recruiter. So that's going to be our discussion today. We're going to talk about what makes you noticeable to the recruiter. We're going to talk about the headline. We're going to talk about the titles that you use, the skills, the spotlight features that are available on LinkedIn. So going forward, one other thing to remember is that when a person lands on your LinkedIn profile, 30% of the people who look at your profile won't bother to scroll down. They're going to take a look at your headline area. They'll probably be able to see the first 4 lines of the about section. That's going to tell them all they need to know. 97% of the people won't read your whole about section. So here we're looking at a conflict between what a human being does and what a LinkedIn recruiter software does. The LinkedIn recruiter software is looking at every word you have in your profile, and it puts a value on all of those words in order to determine whether you should be brought to the top of the list when a recruiter is searching for somebody with your talent. When a human being looks at your LinkedIn profile, they're going to be looking for the easiest to read information, the highlighted information that they think is most important, and you have to be able to dazzle them early. So although we have 2 different activities going on here, the LinkedIn algorithm and the human eye, you have to be able to pull those together and satisfy both of them. So the first is the headline. Let's make sure the recruiter knows who you are. The LinkedIn standard, the LinkedIn automatic is your job title at your company. But you can change that 220 characters worth. And the more specific you can be if you have a job that requires very specific skills, put those in. So if you're a full stack application developer, put in the software that you're able to use, because that's going to let the recruiter know immediately if you're a good fit for the role that they're looking at. If you're a project manager or a program manager, those are some of the broadest titles that we have out in the United States. Being able to put in some specifics about what you do, where you are, what type of things you do is going to be important here. So specializing in, focused on, able to do this in order to achieve that. If you have an accountant position, being able to talk about what you do within that is also a positive thing. What's your best value? What do you do best? The higher you are in an organization, the more strategic your results need to be. So if for a VP of marketing, global marketing, creating value for business through effective marketing strategies is going to give the impression that you know what you're doing and you know how to do it. Director of Customer Relations, helping the world become more customer-centric. So putting something that is going to be telling the recruiter what you want to have is important. It doesn't necessarily need to be, here's my title and here are all the skills that I have. If Walt Disney had had a LinkedIn profile, he could have had CEO, management, creativity, artistry, but instead he probably would have said, Walt Disney, I make dreams come true. Putting in something that catches the attention of the recruiter, knowing who you are, what type of job you're looking for, what the recruiter is probably going to be interested in, is going to be your best bet on the headline. But this is the most powerful area you've got outside of the algorithm itself, because it's appealing to the human being who has to make a decision out of those 42,000 names that are up there. They'll normally go through maybe 100 or 125 just scrolling through. You want to catch the attention. Titles is the first thing that a recruiter is looking for. And the title that you put in your profile is normally going to be the title that the company gave you. But you can put in more titles in that line that describes what you did. So in my case, official title within LHH is career consultant, but career coach is also used a lot in the industry. If I want a recruiter to find me, I'm going to put both titles there. The other thing that you can do, though, is that if you were given a title that does not necessarily indicate what you did in the company, you can put it in parentheses. So in my case, I had a title about training and development, but my whole team was associated with moving classroom training into Zoom training, online training, other things that could be on-demand training. So although I had to put my official title, because that's what companies are looking for, I also put in titles that would indicate in this role, I could have been considered to have these titles instead of what the company gave me. So if you
Ruth, I have a question for you quickly on this.
Sure.
Are we allowed to then, I guess, have the same titles as what you have here in LinkedIn on the resume? So it should match, right? So you have your exact title that was given to you by the company, but then if it was, I don't know, if it's a little bit ambiguous and you put in, I also did, instructional designer, e-learning developer, you would have that in the resume as well, correct?
You would want to match that. The whole idea is that you're trying to translate your title to titles that the recruiter is looking for so they can find you.
Mm-hmm.
So having that both in your resume and in your LinkedIn profile keeps things in sync. And yes, the algorithm that's used for the applicant tracking systems is very similar to the one for LinkedIn. They give high point value to exact titles, which is why in your resume, in that summary section at the top of the resume, you're going to put in the exact title that you're applying for, because you get bonus points if the exact title is on your resume.
Okay, thank you.
So being able to expand the titles so that recruiters can find you easier, because now they can see exactly what you did, is going to help explain to them what your background, what your experience is. Always use the titles that LinkedIn has standardized, and I'll show you how to get there in just a minute. Let's do that right now. So let's go into LinkedIn profile. My background is my happy place right now. It's getting hot. I want to be at the beach. Here's my background. Beach chairs lined up, looking over the ocean. Sunny day. You're going to want a branded background. You're going to want a background that says immediately what it is you do, how you do it, what industry you're targeting. Something that as soon as somebody comes on to your profile, they can say, in pharma, in IT. And being able to put that in is going to be a way for the recruiter to immediately have an impression of what you do. And there are a lot of free sites out there for backgrounds. Google Images has a good one. Go to Google Images, type in LinkedIn background, IT, LinkedIn background, project management. And you'll come up with hundreds of rectangular pictures, just the right size for your background. As soon as you get a job, you can change that to your happy place. But the background is normally going to be something that is branded. It can be either a picture or it can be a quote. If there's a quote that you feel that you live by or that defines your management style or your way of doing business in a company, you can put a quote in the background. Google Images has thousands of them. It helps if you maintain the author of that quote so that they know that it's not your quote. But there's some that are just perfect for background information. So if you don't want a picture, get a quote. As soon as you get a job, replace it with your happy place. Now, the headline area, you're going to be putting in the information that you think is important for people to see about you. Normally, we're looking for 1 or 2 titles here and then a value statement. The value statement tells a recruiter, a hiring manager, anybody coming onto your site, what you do best, what you can bring to a company. If you are concerned, because this is social media, that you are being contacted by someone who is a scammer, one of the ways that you can do a bit of research is going into the More feature here, and you can see about this profile. When you click about this profile, it tells information about when it was joined, when it was updated, if it's been verified. If you're seeing very, very recent information, or you're not seeing that there's any verification, be cautious as you're talking to the people, because it could be something that is just too good to be true. So this is a good area to put skills, and sometimes you need to put skill, 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 because those are the important things. The higher you are in an organization, the more useful it is to put it in a sentence structure rather than just putting skills there. Always take a look at the analytics that you have, because the analytics show how often you're coming up in a search appearance that a recruiter is doing, and it tells you how many people have looked at your profile in the last 90 days. There's no optimum number here, but your goal is to keep track of what you started out with and ensure that your numbers are going up, up, up as time progresses, because it means that now recruiters are seeing you more often. You can take a look and go in and see what it is that they're looking at. I don't have premium, so there's a limit to what I'll be able to see. If you have premium, you'll see a lot more information. But for the most part, looking at these raw numbers is going to be a good feel for, are you doing things right on LinkedIn? Skills are going to be an important part, because skills are the other portion that is being looked at by the recruiter. And they come in different areas: industry knowledge, interpersonal skills. There are a couple different categories here. Make sure that you don't have only industry knowledge. Make sure that you're identifying who you are also, because you're packaging yourself in 2 different ways. One is, I can do the job, I've got the technical capability to do it, I've done it before. But recruiters and hiring managers also want to know that you're a good fit for the company, and that you're going to be able to move into the company and fit in, be friendly, be part of the team. So identify who you are for interpersonal skills too, because that's the other part of how you're going to do your selling when you're in an interview. Now we're talking about, how does it look to find a job title that LinkedIn has standardized? LinkedIn has standardized 6,000 titles, so using one of their titles is probably going to be best for you, and you can probably find something that's very similar. Now, if you had a title like Chief of Disruption, that's not going to be out there. Project Manager will be out there. But going into the Jobs tab, and when you're in the Jobs tab, going into the skill or company or title, putting in a title, you'll be able to see that there are different permutations, different types within that. Choose one that is reasonable for you, knowing again that LinkedIn looks at a level above and a level below any title that you're looking at. but use the titles that you'll find on this list in order to identify what you want when you're adding titles into your profile page in the title section or in the headline section. Those are the titles that come up highest in the searches.
Ruth, I have a question for you.
Yep.
You were saying before on the banner, right, that they can do a Google search with, you know, some kind of picture or image that they wanted. And if they wanted to have like a quote or a saying like that, where was the location of that? Or do you do a Google search and find
Going to
something that you
Google
want?
Images, and let's start just with LinkedIn background. And in the LinkedIn background area, Google is going to give you a couple of different filters already. So if you wanted to go into technology, it will give you some banners that are associated with technology as a background banner. The problem is that some of these look really amazing in the small tiles, but when you blow them up, they're fuzzy. Don't put fuzzy in your background. So you're going to save a couple of them by hovering over them, right-clicking, and save image as. You're going to have to save your image into the picture folder of the device that you're on, because that's the only place that LinkedIn can find it. So save a couple of them, LinkedIn 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, in order to find things that are going to be reasonable for a background. If you wanted to have LinkedIn background, pharma, whole new set of pictures here, things that look as if they could be part of the pharmaceutical business.
Mm-hmm.
If you wanted to find quotes, some of these are going to be
Generic.
advertisements.
Yeah.
Some of these are going to be things that are reasonable to put in your background. But if you wanted to just start with your own quote that you know about, skip this LinkedIn background and put in never, never, ever give up, Winston Churchill. And some of them are going to be in enough of a rectangle that you're going to be able to put it into your LinkedIn background. A square, you're not going to be able to get in. But being able to find something, and there are a lot of different versions of this, but finding something that can fit into a LinkedIn rectangle is going to be your best bet there. And then once you have those in your background, then you're going to go into your, it will be a camera up here if you don't have a background yet. It'll be an edit pencil when you do. LinkedIn will give you, when I change photo, a lot of different flavor of the month options here. Stay away from those because they're overused. Go in and upload a photo from your picture folder.
Okay.
And find the LinkedIn 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the ones that you saved, and try them out.
Great. That's very helpful. Thanks for showing us. And I had one other question for you. I don't think you've covered it yet. What are the benefits of verifying yourself with LinkedIn? This person's very cautious because if they, you know, share their ID or info, they want to make sure they're not a victim of
It's
identity
really
theft.
not that deep a verification. It's, are you at this email? Are you still associated with the company? So it's not asking for a background check on you or anything. It's just a general, are you who you say you are?
Mm-hmm.
And since there are a lot of people on LinkedIn and every other social media that are not who they are, it's nice to be able to have that check mark by your name that says, I'm a real person, not a
Yeah.
robot.
Okay. Great. I think those are all the questions that we have currently. So, yep. Thanks.
Okay, let's go back and take a look at the skills section because you want to have the skills that recruiters are looking for. And one of the ways to do that is going to this. And I'll try and put this in.
I can put it in the chat.
You put in the chat.
Yeah.
And what this does, it is going to provide you with a new LinkedIn page. This is not associated with your LinkedIn profile. It is this right here. It's a independent set of LinkedIn pages that talk about the future of work, that give you some workforce data, resources. It's got the blog, but it tends to be very high level. But on this page, it allows you to put in a job title, and it shows you the skills that are associated with that. So if we wanted to say that you were let's stick with a project manager, and these are the skills that LinkedIn feels are associated with an implementation project manager, and they're in order. So the one at the top, when you say project implementation, that probably needs to be on your profile. So LinkedIn is probably using these in order to determine how strong a project manager you are. Nice to see these. These are all hard skills. There's nothing here about communication and leadership and management. You also see those on job descriptions, so you're going to have to put those in your profile. But these are the ones that are dealing with, here are the hard skills needed to be successful at this job. Then on the right-hand side of this page, it says, let's find other jobs for you that are similar to this. So what's your next career move? It might be up, it might be lateral, but going from an implementation project manager to an implementation manager, probably a fair thing, but it will tell you in this area through here, what skills are unique to this job and which ones are in common with the job that you have. And what type of skills you need to build. These are all linked to ways that you can improve your skills. So some of these, like for an implementation project manager, there's no real surprises. This is going to be the general career path that you would be looking for anyway. Director of implementation, implementation specialist, implementation consultant. But if you're looking for jobs where you have a type of job that you're looking for, and it's different from what you've done in the past, you can take a look here and see what other jobs are similar to that and might have a better set of skills that are associated with what you already have in your skill set. Part of your problem as a job seeker is that you as a person probably have 2,000 skills. You're trying to find the smaller group to tell people about, to make a recruiter think that you're the one who has the best set of skills. And on your LinkedIn profile, they have opened up the skill section to 100, so you can put in 100 skills. You might not need that many, but putting them in the about section, putting them in the experience section are going to give you more of a feel for how you've used those skills. So this is a good site to be able to find the skills that you probably need to have in your profile.
Great. I think this is really helpful, especially for all of those who are looking to maybe make a career pivot and they want to see where those gaps are. We do have another question in the chat if you're able to take that.
Let's go.
When a recruiter does a search, does my work experience in my LinkedIn profile need to be in bullet format for me to show up in the search? Or is it okay to have my job title and a short paragraph of responsibilities? Someone told me your work experience must be in bullet format.
The LinkedIn algorithm doesn't care. It's artificial intelligence, and it doesn't care if you have bullet points or not. It does care if you have stars instead of bullet points, because not all of those special characters can be read by the LinkedIn algorithm. So sticking to the little round dots may look boring, but at least you know you're being read. Now, bullet points aren't needed by the LinkedIn algorithm, but they are useful for the recruiter. The recruiter wants to see the information on your profile in a manner that's easy to read. And easy to read means that you're going to be looking for paragraphs that are short. None of your paragraphs should be more than 4 lines deep. If it's going to be a long set of information, put in bullet points. Bullet points are just easier to read so that it's something that can be picked up easily by a recruiter and read without looking at a wall of words and reading the first and the last sentence and skipping everything in between. So bullet points, I would say yes, for a human eye, are easier to read.
Okay, great. Thank you.
You bet. Okay, let's go back. Let's go through the spotlight features. And the first one is the hashtag open to work. This was put in by LinkedIn before the pandemic. It was put in during the time when there were a huge number of mergers and acquisitions. And when companies merged, part of the purchased company suddenly became redundant and not needed anymore. And some immensely talented people were now laid off. Prior to that time, let's say 15 years ago, the people who were laid off quite often were the ones who were not the high performers, they were the low performers, and there was a good reason why they were laid off. That changed 15 years ago, and not everybody has recognized that in the industry. But certainly with the mergers and acquisitions, and then the pandemic, and then the fallout of the pandemic, where companies are restructuring to meet financial needs, incredibly talented people have been laid off. And LinkedIn is a strong proponent of let people know you're open to work. They feel that there's no shame to being unemployed. It just means that you're trying to find your next role. So when you're using the hashtag open to work, LinkedIn says that if you have this in the public so that people can see it on your headshot, you'll receive more in-mails from recruiters, 20 to 50% more. It does need to be refreshed. It turns stale over a period of time. So every 2 months, you need to turn it off and immediately turn it back on again so that it's got a new date stamp associated with it. When you turn it off, sometimes you lose all the information that's in there. Make sure that you remember what it was that you were stating, or put in something new this time that might be working a little bit better for you. But the hashtag open to work is the most frequently used filter in LinkedIn. So being able to have that as part of your profile to indicate that you're willing to talk about a new job is going to be a huge benefit for you. Not everybody likes the hashtag open to work. People who were doing recruiting more than 15 years ago still feel like there's a stigma associated with being laid off. People who are in executive positions might not want to use this because they've got a different way of networking, and it's more going to be on relationships than it is going to be on a recruiter landing on you. But for most other people, the hashtag open to work, if you feel that this is not comfortable for you, you don't need to put it on. We're just saying in this that LinkedIn is telling us that it's a more effective way to be found by recruiters.
Ruth, there's another question in the chat. What are your thoughts about using the easy apply on LinkedIn?
Take a look at that. That's a good question too. So when you're on the jobs tab and you're looking for a project manager, and instead of United States, we're going to say I want remote. You're also going to use this all filters, because the all filters gives you more information than the small set of filters that LinkedIn has. So I'm going to say mid-senior or director. Company I don't care about, job type, I do want full-time. I did say I wanted remote up here in this geographic area. Location, only use location on remote if you're seeing countries. And you're generally going to want to choose United States as your remote source because it gives you a better chance of getting that job. And you don't have to worry about the time zones and different cultures, different languages. So Location isn't important on remote unless it's by country. Industry is going to be important. LinkedIn has 149 different industries, and finding a job in your industry is generally easier than finding a job outside your industry. So being able to say, I am interested in the technology and information, then at the right-hand side, can you see there's a blue box that gives me the number of results? I started with about 3,500. I'm down to 291. Job function, skip that. Title, skip that. But you do want to take a look at salary because that's going to tell you where you are in an organization. And I'm going to say that I want 160,000. Now I've got 10 results. That's a reasonable number. This is my ideal job. And I can set an alert, and now anytime this job with this set of filters comes on to LinkedIn, LinkedIn will notify me. Now, if it says that it is promoted, that means that the company has paid LinkedIn to bring you this job to the top of your list. LinkedIn will always give you information based on how well it matches your profile information, except when the company pays it to do otherwise. So here, when it says that it's promoted, it means they're paying LinkedIn to bring it to the top of your search. It means they are looking to the outside, and they are probably wanting to move quickly. And that's a good thing to know, because we know that about 20% of the jobs on any job board are ghost jobs. They post it to the outside, but they've already offered it to somebody internal. Actively recruiting means that the LinkedIn has been watching the activity of the recruiter. They can guarantee you that the recruiter is trying to fill this job to the outside. That's a good sign also. Now, you always have a blue button for either apply. You thought I forgot, didn't you? There's either a blue button for apply or a blue button for easy apply. Easy apply means that LinkedIn is integrated with the applicant tracking system of that company, and you have a choice of either submitting your application via a resume, or you could use your full LinkedIn profile. If your LinkedIn profile is bigger than your resume, sometimes it's easy to go with just have my resume pushed into the applicant tracking system. If it's just a blue apply, that means that LinkedIn and the applicant tracking system of that company are not integrated. They can't talk to each other. You are going to have to be using a resume in order to apply for that job. There's
Usually,
a
I think
roundabout
when
way
you
to get there, but I got there.
I think usually when you see that apply button, then it'll say it's going to take you to the company's website to apply.
And they always will, because you always have to apply through the company website. LinkedIn
even
just
with the
allows you to
easy
slide it a bit
apply,
easier.
even with the easy apply, correct?
Yeah, because you have to get into that company eventually.
Yeah.
And LinkedIn is doing the pushing for you.
Mm-hmm.
The easy apply is a nice feature if you've got a strong profile.
Okay. All right. Hopefully that answers the question. I don't have any other questions at this time.
Okay. All right, let's go back to the open to work. The next spotlight feature is mutual interest. Companies want to know that you're interested in them. They've got a lot, they've got what, 200, 250, maybe 300 applications coming in for a job. They're really interested in the people who understand their company. So letting the company know that you like them is going to be important, and there are 4 ways that you can do that. So let's go back onto LinkedIn, and if somebody could give me the name of a company that you're interested in.
Anyone? What's the name of a company you're interested in? And Ruth can look it up. Amazon?
Let's do Amazon. So
Always a big company.
that's okay. So we've got Amazon here. We're going to go here. And you can follow it from here, but we're going to view the page first. Because the first way that you're telling a company you're interested in them is that you're going to use this blue follow. And that gives the company permission to add information to your homepage feed, so that when they want to talk about a new option in their company, if they want to talk about an employee engagement activity, whatever they want to talk about, you're telling them, if I'm following you, go ahead and share that information. Let me know. And they'll put it on your homepage. In the About section here, when you click on that, it will give an overview of the company and some information, but it may also say, are you interested in working with us? Click the I'm interested. That's useful if you have not found a job in their job board, but you are interested in joining the company, let them know. Recruiters see this, they use it, they like it. So that's the second way that you're telling the company you like them. The next is in the Jobs tab. And in the Jobs tab, right underneath the Jobs tab is, do you want to set up a job alert? And a job alert is going to be able to tell LinkedIn that you are a project manager. And these are going to be the LinkedIn standardized titles. These are not going to be the titles that Amazon might have on their job page, because everything on LinkedIn is set up with LinkedIn verbiage, and that's how the recruiters are doing their search. So putting in a job title, putting in a location, create a job alert. What that does is that when the Amazon recruiter posts a job on LinkedIn, LinkedIn scans it and then says, we have 5 people who have set up a job alert for you, who have the skills that you're looking for on your job posting. You might want to look at these 5 people first. Very powerful way of saying, this is what I want. I'm here for you. Come look at me in more detail. When you create a job alert here, or you have a job alert on that jobs page, LinkedIn has a limit of 20. So only have 1 title per company, because you don't want to overuse it for the different companies that you have. 20 sounds like it's sufficient. It's not always. So job alerts, good thing to do, but use them only on the company you're truly targeting. So we're following, we're saying I'm interested in the About section, we set up a job alert, then we go into the People side, and having a connection in the company is going to be a plus for the recruiters also. So when you're taking a look at the people, LinkedIn will tell you the number of people that are employed at the company and who have a LinkedIn profile. If you want to narrow it down and say that I'm only looking for people in the Seattle area because I think those are probably going to be the people most willing to keep in touch with me. So here we've got it to 64,000. Wow. Okay.
That makes sense.
Yeah. The next column they have is where they studied. Not particularly interesting right now, but what they do tells you what department they're in. So if I'm looking for a project manager job, I'm going to narrow it down into this department. Then what they're skilled at, what they studied, do you have any connections with them? If you have a first-degree connection, that's a good sign, because now you can contact that person and say, I just applied for this job at Amazon. I understand Amazon gives a bonus if you recommend someone who gets hired. Would you mind forwarding my resume to the hiring manager or the recruiter? And for a $1,000 bonus, most people are going to be willing to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely try to make that connection to, to whoever you know in the company before you apply. It looks like we have a question from Sean.
Shout it out, Sean.
Yes, thank you, Patty. Hi, Ruth. So I just want to get clarity on one thing you said a little while ago. You want to set up alerts for a specific company, let's say Amazon, that you're looking for a project manager role, because I want to make sure I understood this clearly. It lets Amazon recruiters know that you're looking for a PM role when that becomes available internally for them. So then they could maybe reach out to you. Is that the reason why?
Yes.
Okay.
How
Okay.
great is that?
Yeah, I didn't know it has that capability. And then a follow-up question that I have for you, which unfortunately LinkedIn took away, and it was an amazing feature where you can search for a person and then search if they are hiring, and they took that feature away, meaning that you have to be a paid LinkedIn subscriber to see if, let's say, Patty's company is hiring, that so I can search and filter by hiring as long as I'm a paid member of LinkedIn. Where prior to that, it wasn't the case. So which was great for us job seekers who may not have had membership at LinkedIn. Is there, or do you know of a workaround around to that, to find out people in your network, whether it's first connection or second connection, who have that hiring banner on, so I can search for them and then reach out and say, oh, I see your company's hiring for PM. Here's my resume. Let's set up a call or put me in touch with,
Yeah, unfortunately, they didn't make it as easy, did they? One thing that you can do on this page, at least, is that when you're looking, let's just say we're going to be looking for recruiters. And we've got 145 recruiters in the greater Seattle area. Well, let's take rid of the project management. Okay. Recruiters sometimes have that hashtag hiring like this, more so than any other group. So
right.
if you're at a company and you're looking simply for recruiters, you can find them this way.
Okay.
But as far as being able to do a search in general, no, they did take that away, didn't they? Seems a shame.
Yeah, it is. I mean, unless you're a paid subscriber, then you could see that information. And I think that just happened about maybe late March, early April, like very recent.
They've taken away a lot of features recently that have been kind of surprising, but hopefully they're going to be adding more for us. If you're on a page like this and you see somebody who is hashtag hiring, that's a good person to connect to. If you don't have a connection anyplace else in the company, connect this way. Never use the white connect button, because that sends an automatic, I'd like to be part of your network. If you wanted to send somebody a connection request, you would go click on their name and go to their profile page and use the blue connect button. The blue connect button on a laptop or a computer will always allow you to personalize your message.
Isn't that inverted on like the mobile
It's
version?
inverted on your phone. So if you're on your phone, it's just the
Yeah.
opposite. Use the white connect button in order to personalize it.
Yeah. It's confusing. I think I've done it a couple times by accident. I'm like, wait a minute.
Me too.
Same here. Yep, same here. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. So when you're showing an interest to a company, there are 4 ways you're going to do that. You're going to follow the company. You're going to set up a job alert. You're going to set up that interest button in the about section, and you're going to find somebody to connect to. Recruiters are generally the easiest to connect to. But if you can find people who are in your department or are close to you in title, sometimes that's a good connection. I am in a job search, increasing my network of software developers, would love to connect. Always give a reason why you want to connect with someone. It'll make it easier for them to decide to accept you or not. Increasing your visibility too. LinkedIn wants you to be active, but LinkedIn wants you to be engaged. And the more active you are on LinkedIn, the higher your score is going to be, and the higher you're going to appear in those company searches. So ways to be active, they're calling it active talent. And it means that you're active, you respond to a recruiter outreach. If on your message tab, you get a note from a recruiter saying, we have a job that seems to match your profile, would love to set up time with you. Are you interested? Always respond. LinkedIn keeps track of that. And if you don't respond, then your name starts going down, 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 because they think that you're not serious about finding a job. So even if it's, I'm not interested in that level position, or it looks like this is going to be in a city that I am not able to relocate to, give them some reason, or let them know that you're looking for something else in case they've got more than one job they're looking at. But always respond to the recruiters on the message tab. Do not respond to salespeople. All of the people who are using messaging to get you back to school, to learn more about this, to get help on something in your profile, you don't need to respond to those, just recruiters. If you have updated your LinkedIn profile in any way, it's a plus. If you share your resume with recruiters, if you work at an organization, you work at an organization that had a recent layoff, LinkedIn puts that into the system so that recruiters can find people who have been recently laid off, which is another indication that people who are laid off are in demand. So being active on LinkedIn is huge on the homepage. On the homepage, you've got a lot of information that comes into you with people talking about new things in their company, talking about visions for the future. Commenting on those posts is going to give you extra bonus points to your profile. You need a minimum of 12 words. You can't just like a post. That would only give you 1 point. If you said, thanks for sharing, that's 3 words. You get a couple points there. But if you have 12 words or more, that means that you're trying to engage in a conversation, and LinkedIn gives you bonus points for that. So thank you for sharing. I've seen this in the companies I've worked at. I wish I had an answer to this also. Don't use any emoticons, any emojis. They don't go through well on most systems, and they can be translated incorrectly, so don't use those. At least 3 times a week, comment on a post, because that seems to be the level that LinkedIn is looking at for you to be considered an active content. Now, if you're going to post your own content, you could find an article on some other site, bring it in and share it on LinkedIn, add some comments at the top. I found this article, found that it described perfectly why my company had the layoff, hoping that they recover soon. Posting weekly is a good thing to be able to do if you can find information. You can have your own set of information that you are talking. Don't do it on Mondays and Fridays. You don't get the engagement. Using hashtags is going to increase the sound of your voice, because if you're posting content, it will go to the people who are in your network. If you add a hashtag, it will be sent to the people who are following that hashtag, so that you're sending your message to other people. And LinkedIn has recently pulled back on hashtags. Otherwise, we'll talk a little bit more about those. But if somebody does make a comment on something you posted, respond to them, because that keeps the conversation going and makes LinkedIn feel as if this was a very positive thing to be able to do, and is doing the things LinkedIn wants. They want conversations. They want to have that additional discussion. And that reply to recruiter messages, absolutely right. Make sure that if a recruiter does get to you, you respond to them, either by yes, I'm interested, or no, this is what I'm looking for, in case they can help you on there, and not replying to the people who are just looking for solicitations.
Yes, we have a couple of questions. Thanks so much, Ruth. It was very engaging. So first question is, I noticed that there is a toggle for a fair chance recruiter. What does that mean on LinkedIn? There's a fair chance they'll get back to you?
No, let me get to it.
That's funny.
Okay, and that was on the jobs tab. And let's just go to the last one we had. And we're going to go to all filters. This one right here.
Yeah.
Okay. Fair chance means that these are companies that are willing to consider you for a job if you have a criminal record. So if you have a driving while intoxicated, if you've got a low-level drug on your record, these are the companies that are going to be able to say, we are willing to forgive it, you've done your time, or paid your fine, or whatever it was that was needed.
Okay.
So look at
That's
that.
good to know. And then why should you not make a post on Monday and Friday?
There's less interest in those posts. People who are in companies quite often are going to be more occupied and less on LinkedIn than they are on Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. So Monday, simply because they're trying to get ready for the week, they're trying to set things up, they're not going to go to LinkedIn, you're losing part of your audience. Friday, because the interest in engagement on company type business is at a low point. Friday afternoon in particular. We find that Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursdays are the better days to be active and have people see and respond.
Okay. Great. I think those are all the questions that we have at this time.
We've
But
had good
definitely
questions here.
it's always good. I learn something new every single time. I'm like, oh, I never even noticed that before. Oh, that's what that means. And yeah, I really feel like you need to have some kind of a glossary with LinkedIn, and they should say, this is what this means. This is when we rolled it out. You know, their marketing team needs to do a better, communications team needs to do a better job at letting us know these things. But yeah, definitely. I use the all filters all the time myself. That's the only way to really focus in on what you need when you're doing job search and looking for people and connections. So definitely very important to use, and especially following the company as well. Make sure that you know that they know that you're interested in them as well. Great. So nice comments coming in for you, Ruth. Thanks for an outstanding presentation. So yeah, really appreciate all your wisdom. And maybe in next month, you'll have even more interesting new and exciting new features on LinkedIn. So yeah. So with that, if there aren't any other questions, then I will end the meeting. Please make sure that you save the chat before you leave the meeting, and hope to see you again next week or this week at another session. So hopefully with Matt's session on Friday, or you can go into the Zoom session tomorrow for the practice interview team. All right.
Thank you, Ruth.
right.
Thank you, Patty.
Thank you, Ruth.
Thank you,
Patty.
everybody.
It
Have
was
a good
great,
day.
Thanks for
using my
joining
time.
us.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone. Good luck.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.